Hello everybody, I'm here with Christian today. Hello Christian.
Hello everyone, hello Karen, and hello everybody else.
Yeah, you're much better now, aren't you Christian?
Yeah, recovered a little bit.
Yes, we're lucky to have Christian with all the things that have happened to him. We're lucky to have Mickey as well for the same reason. Anyway, so we're going to talk today about the lies, aren't we Christian?
Yeah, the topic of the day is uncovering lies that is mainly that what history is lies agreed upon, isn't it? And the refabrication of history.
Well, what it is we've got this little video ready. I'm going to put it on now. And Christian found this one, and it's on Instagram, and it's showing Rio de I can't say it. Rio de Janeiro. Yeah, in 1903. So the video is a little bit, because obviously it's from Brazil, it's a little bit old, so it's a little bit crackly, whatever you want to call it. But we're watching this tram thing go up a hill and steam. It's only got one carriage on it, but the whole point of this video was just look how much they've got. If they're such a poor country, why have they got aqueducts? We're going to see them in a minute. They got trains.
It's astonishing. That train that you just mentioned is in the middle, on the top of mountains,
Anyway, now watching the man walking down the promenade, but I mean, what a great promenade.
I was just looking at the floor and what he's walking on, what you mentioned the other day. Is that metallic thing, Yeah, yes, because it was in various places around the world.
And we know that things can travel, frequencies in that can go through metals and do things, because it's the frequencies that do things with trains, even recently. The top, there you go, here it comes.
Strange to see, isn't it?
We've got horses and carts, and that doesn't go in with the aqueducts, does it? Because you'd have to have more than that. But it's all crazy, isn't it? Because how could they have all that technology if they deem them as this really poor country right now?
Yeah, what caught my eye was you could see it's a viaduct, and the way these viaducts are naturally built. So has this one been turned into what you call a railway line or a tram line, at that particular time?
Yeah, was it originally water? Was it the Romans, whichever ones they were? And then, was it put up to take the tram? Or they've converted it into taking the trams?
Yeah. Things to uncover whatever's been hidden. And through a lot of topics that we've covered, we've been astounded at ourselves from time to time of what we have uncovered.
You wouldn't know you were in Brazil, would you?
No, but yeah, I know what you mean. It does give you that Middle Eastern feel, doesn't it?
But it's the palm trees and things. There's some palm trees, but there's a couple of cars in the footage there. But there's lots of horses and carts. But there is cars. Well, there's a tram, and then there was a car just there.
Well, I didn't spot that, to be honest. Look, that's electric.
Yeah, there's the car. 1903, there was a car.
Astonishing.
It's in the footage. So, Christian, what was when you saw this? How could they have all this?
It's opposing everything that's supposedly good for humanity. They're doing the opposite, everything that's coming at us is fast and furious, but in their haste, that's what people are in their haste. They want this new world order, and I think they're pushing it too fast, too quickly. And that's why, a friend of mine, Linny, she asked me about why is nobody doing anything. Well, it's not the fact that nobody's doing anything, it's the fact that the media is controlled by the U's, worldwide, and they're silencing it, although that we've got the internet, that's one thing they gave us to use to a degree, but we do know that we get censored if we touch the nerves a little bit too touchy like. So yeah, I mean, there's people rebelling in France, Holland, Italy, even over here in UK.
But the media's not. Do you know? I saw what it was when because I work in a hotel at the moment, and I just put the television on when I was doing some work there. And on came the story. It was just on that one. I wasn't really particularly wanting to watch it. I just want it in the background. It just makes things seem faster. But anyway, started talking about Holly Willoughby and Philip Schofield. and they went on and on and on. They said basically that there might be a, like she has to say her bit about what happened, and then, all that. And then they showed you what one of the producers was like, and he was making a joke, and they thought, well, that's not a very funny thing. And then they said, it's because everybody needs to move on now. Everybody's talking about it, and they need to move on. And you think, the only reason we know about it is because the media told us. How would we have known unless the media hadn't told us? So they're pathetic, because they told us, and then they say, oh, we've got to move on now, because obviously they realise that people are disgusted.
Yeah.
Which goes into whether we do it or I do it myself. Gillian sent me some links about all these, Bud Light, all these companies which are pushing transgenderism, and the people are not having it. They're not buying the products anymore.
Because it's being pushed by big money. Now, obviously, I believe these companies have been told to push it. Yeah. Regardless.
Listen,
of
I don't mind what you are. You can be, not, what you call it, heterosexual, lesbian, gay. I don't care. It's the person that's the most important thing. But the bit I don't like is the amount of lies. Like we've just done the bit where Tina Turner is a man. So, do you want that kind of life, that you'll never realise that all these men were fancying Tina Turner? Even my dad probably did. Didn't even notice that she was a man.
Well,
that's a lie, see. Okay, and the other one I put one out was at the schools. They're giving responsibility to schools. So the children go to school as boy or girl or whatever, and at school they can walk around in the sex they want. And they don't tell the parents. And I thought, that's not right either.
But like I said to you, I don't know how far back this goes with this transgender business, but it seems to me it goes back quite a few decades, if not much further. And it's always been a case that it's been in the background, and it's to do with deceiving, isn't it? That you put your thoughts and emotions into someone who's not what they claim to be. So that puts you in the wrong.
Well, it's the same thing when you've got that character, Johnny Depp. He may not be the anchor. One of them is, but I thought it was Johnny Depp. But that Johnny Davis Jr., whatever it is, what is he called? Johnny Downey Jr., whatever he is. Robert. He looks like it's either him or and then what it is some people will say, well, he looked very old in the pictures, and there's another actor it can be as well, and you're like, how many times do they have to send Johnny Depp out, and there are all these different actors? It's either Matt Damon, all these people play them, and then they play them. It's sick. We just want the truth. And, I made this video once, Christian. What it said was that this news reporter went in, they filmed him for 10 minutes. So in there they had his mannerisms, the whole thing. And then that was his career. He never even had to turn up to do the news. They just made it off that video. And that's what they do. So when these actors say, oh, do you remember when we were making that video, or that film, sorry, and, we had that laugh. It's all rubbish because they didn't. It's just ridiculous. They just use their composites. They're composites on the films.
Well, you know that their technology in what you call double splicing goes back to at least the 1920s, I think. At least the 1920s, or maybe just after that. No, I think the 1920s is good. With the film Metropolis, you can see that they were using that sort of technology even in that film with Fritz Lang. So, and films that followed with Cecil B. DeMille. Basically, it's the double standard, and it's like you're seeing two bits of film at the same time spliced into one. So it goes. Well,
I put the videos out about that with what the Victorians called fiction and what the 1920s. Nothing much had moved on from the Victorians to the 1920s. I say the Victorian had more ideas, but a lot of the ideas they were talking about, or the pictures, it happened. We had the things that were fiction.
Yeah. Basically, how far it's progressed today. Never mind with your transgender movement, perhaps that's been around for a very long time as well. But it's the deception that's involved in it. If you're seeing like what you think is a woman in a concert, and it's not, it's a man. And you're being made to believe it's a woman. You're idolizing the wrong thing. You're actually idolizing homosexualism, if you like, because the person is a man. You don't see very many.
When my dad loved the singer Katie Lang, and that's supposed to be a lesbian woman. When you look at them, you think, Well, I think that's a man. That's not a woman, that's a man. And if it's a man, then they're not a lesbian, are they? They're having a heterosexual relationship. Well, they did. It just boggles my mind. Katie Lang looks like a man to me.
Well, I did have a look myself, and I thought exactly what you thought, basically. But was this a woman taking male hormones, or was it a man taking female hormones? You know, to change their looks or whatever. But yeah, it's all.
But don't forget, they're all made, so that could be two people put together, and you know they also look a bit like Elvis Presley. Have you noticed that? Their stance, their hair, or something just look a bit Elvis Presley like.
Facial expressions,
and they've made it all for you. This is composite. They're all composites because I broke down Tina Turner's Thunderdome. That is just one big fat cartoon. Yeah, so that's waiting to go out. So when I make these videos, all I'm showing you is the lies. I don't find anything real. Not the videos, not what they're telling us, not the history. We don't even know. The saddest thing is we don't know, though, how old things are, do we? Can't say... Sorry, someone decided to ring me there. Probably made lots of noise. I had to cut it out. You might not hear it. What were we saying? Yeah, it's just disgusting. Even Prince Charles, they did not record that day. I know to some people they could say, she's mad. They filmed that months before. They only needed some car to go from the church, you know, if they were going to do it that day. But I think because it rained, or tried to, and then because they say it's on the television, everybody then thinks millions have gone, but they're watching it on the television. But they don't realise they are just watching it on the television. There is no real thing. It's all been done before. You know, the little Diddy Boris on the road. How could you have a Prime Minister that looks the size of a child standing in a field when actually he's about a foot away from the pavement? And they made him small. They make Rishi small. They make them. I don't know why they do that. It's all a game. They want to see if you see it. Because what it is they're all superimposed into the footage. Everybody. It's all been made.
Well, I mean, the only clip that I saw, which I thought I already told you, is where Charles gets covered by this canopy that's put around him. And I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute, isn't this supposed to be for the public to see? And yet they do this. So to me, it makes the whole objective a complete pointless objective of showing you the coronation.
Well, I worked it out that Camilla's probably Biden's wife, and Biden plays a big part. Biden is Bush with someone else to make the character, but Biden is Putin. I thought it was going to be Biden, but it's not. It's Bush. Bush is Putin. Sorry, get that the right way around. Sorry, I'm over talking, but it's Bush that plays Putin. It's disgusting. They want to go to war with Bush. I've done these videos. There's just too many. They look so alike. It cannot be it's someone else because they look too alike. Especially Bush. I know you're going to say, what the hell? You've only got to change his hair and that. That's what they do. They just want their eyes, nose and mouth, and everything else is added.
I mean, from my point of view, that when the Nord Stream pipeline got blown up, it doesn't matter who blew it up. It's still an act of war, you know. It's an act of aggression, and even with the West supporting Ukraine and supplying it with armaments, money, financiers, personnel, to me it's an act of war. And Russia hasn't really responded. You know, Russia's more or less staying stoic. So to me, it's just.
I know, but you know what? Everybody has this idea about who they think he is, right? And what it is even my mother, she goes, him, he's a dirty pig, he needs to be taken out, he's awful. Have you ever listened to Putin? He will say, I didn't invade, you invaded me. I mean, if I had to believe someone, it would be him. But they're all part of it, and don't forget, they're all flying eagles, so we know they're all part of it. But he'll say, you invaded me, I haven't done anything, all I've done is stick up for myself.
Yeah, I mean...
How can you mistake that and go to war with someone that says you invaded me?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's too bizarre to even...
Is he talking about Ukraine as a thing because he thinks it's his, or is he talking about Russia? But he doesn't insult people. It's ridiculous what they do. I mean, that Biden, he's going to crack up one day when he has a go on about how much he hates Putin.
Yeah, well, from my understanding is that there's a bigger prize at stake through all this, and the bigger prize is that humanity was waking up a long time ago. I mean, there's videos explaining this, that even before 2010, there was mass protests about all these viruses that were just popping out of nowhere, you know, and it got bigger through.
Hey, Christian? We've rejoined Christian by phone now. We were doing it on Facebook, but carry on, Christian.
Yeah, I was just saying that when they brought out Operation Covert 19, it didn't just break up communities. It didn't just people's work and careers and businesses. It split up families, you know. So I think that was the deep intention, you know, to break people up in the countries that were concerned, even more so than ever before. And like I said to you just now, I don't know what you call it, that many years ago, pubs here started closing very rapidly on a continuous basis.
Yeah, they seem to want loads of businesses to go out, like what's happening with Budweiser and all that now, like Bud, whatever it is. But the thing is that this is what they seem to do. What they're going to call it, a depression then, like they did in America. They're just repeating the same things over and over again. They're making it all happen.
Yeah. And basically, with what's going on, with closing everything down, I mean, I've walked down my high street in town and I've seen how many places have been closed down throughout the years, and how now the major business line is hairdressers, estate agents, and it's repetitive in that fashion, you know, with the odd store here and there, you know, but many other businesses that have, you know, gone bust because they didn't have enough usage, and because they had to close down, they still had to pay bills, you know, and their stock probably ruined and whatnot. So that's one of the main causes that businesses went out of business, basically.
And don't forget, they want to bring 15-minute cities in, which would do the same thing. And because they already know we're not interested in that, now they're going to bring in this global thing, aren't they? And do it that way. And they just, and what it is it's nothing to do with any of those things. It's to do with taking our freedoms away.
Yeah.
It's about putting us under like a war state, so that we're at war.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not.
Well,
they're at war with us.
Well, this is it. I think when they brought out Operation Covert 9, they declared a state of emergency, and if that's we're still under that same state of emergency, that tells you exactly what's going on.
Well, that state of emergency changes the law, so I don't think we're in that anymore. But we can't really talk about that, Christian.
No, well, it's all come down.
Let's get a strike.
Right.
But we've told it now, so we've said it, yes. But we can't talk about it. But we all know what it is. My mum went for her another jab the other day. She had another booster.
Oh, lovely.
I know. She said the last one really affected her, but this one didn't. This one, she had it a few days ago, but she hasn't got ill. But anyway, we can't about it.
Well, this is one because we've been enslaved not by cities or the 15 or 10 minutes, you know, that they want to bond people together and close things down even further. It's because humanity did wake up to their own slavery. That's what I truly believe, you know. That each one of us has spent our lives.
The thing is, the one thing, if you notice when you watch these videos, it's like everybody's a robot. Everybody's always doing something. They're like busy bees. And they seem to want to make us into some kind of robots. Like Gillian was talking today. Maybe it's the start of transhumanism.
Well, yeah, this part of it, part of the past, I suppose, is part of that, because they first started pushing this the gay thing many years ago. Then came the LGBT, and then came transgenderism. You know, you can see which wave it's following. Then you've probably got this next step.
But the good thing is, which if we don't make the video, I'm going. Obviously, Gillian sent me some links. A lot of these companies which keep pushing the transgender, the people don't like it anymore, and the companies look like they might go out of business.
Yeah.
Bud Light, they've lost millions because what it is it's like one of the I really don't. I'm not against gay people or anything like that. It's not about that for me. You know, I've had gay friends. It's nothing to do with that. But
well, me
they've
too.
got they've got transsexual people, which you know are men, doing tampons.
Say that again.
I can't remember what Gillian said to me. They're on an advert, and it's all to do with tampons or something. So how could a transsexual man be using them?
That you got me on that one. I really don't know.
And this is what the people are starting to not like. I mean, maybe it's because we're waking up anyway.
Yeah.
I want them gone. Yeah. We need something else in the place because the corporations do our food and everything. We need someone on our side, and we need to get rid of them. We really do.
Well, like I said the other day, it's about clearing out the house of the corrupt people and getting some real people back in there. That's my firm belief.
Well, there isn't any real people. If you think Trump's real, God, none of them are real. And do you know what? That is the most sickening thing. When that person, I don't know, they put it in a comment that everybody thinks there's two parties in America, but it's actually the same party. So when you see Trump and Biden slagging it off, they're in the same party. That just blew my mind. There's only one party. But it makes sense because a president can get in on one vote and then in the Senate they vote the other way. And how can that be? It's because it's the same party.
Yeah.
So really, what is it? It's all to do with the egos and which man is president. Is that it? Which Roman is president?
Well, you've got to remember that being the president is only being the manager of a corporation. Because that's exactly what the USA is. It's Inc. Corp, and it's the way I see it.
Somebody put a very interesting comment in the other day. What it was is they said, all these places are not countries. America is not a country because it's in a continent. And England, well, we are an island, so we should have been. But Europe isn't a country, it's a continent. Asia isn't a country, it's a continent. Right, these are continents we're talking about. So they said this is why they're not countries. Because they're in continents.
Yeah.
I thought it wasn't really answering the question. It was on another video. But I liked that answer because I thought, yeah, that's how they do it. They just pick whatever they want. I mean, all the lies they've told about the Middle East, once you realise that Bin Laden... No, it wasn't Bin Laden. It was Colonel Gaddafi and... Colonel Gaddafi and who was the other one? I made the video, and he was also the mayor of New York. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Once you realise that, oh, I know, Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein became the mayor of New York. And once you realise the trickery, there was no Middle East. That was all just made for us.
Well, from what I gathered, that even Iraq was under British control. I think I think Iran, they say they're going to attack Ryan. I mean, for I think a good part of 15 years that they've been saying they're going to attack Iran, but they never have,
Yeah, but they've got to keep us frightened and thinking that war is going to at any time, because we have had some wars.
Yeah.
1 second, Christian, should we put something else on now? Because the same footage is going round and round up on the screen. Hang on.
Yeah.
What's going on? Oh, it's me pushing the phone down on the thing. Right, here we go. We're back on now. So what it is Christian wanted to talk about 15-minute cities. And this is what this is about. This is about a group of people that went to the council, and one guy was quite upset because, he's saying, what right have you got to decide all this when we didn't decide? You decided on our behalf. Why isn't it working? Well, we'll put this on in a second. Come on, why don't you work? It's not working. Hang on a second, Christian. Right, I'm just going to let it go. Got to put the video... Right, so here we are. We had a few problems there. What it is these people are marching because they're not happy about the 15-minute city coming to... there we go. Right, it's playing. It is playing. Look, we can see it playing. So they decided... so many people turned up to say how unhappy they were. They had to go to another building. So this is them walking to another... And then... Obviously, we're not listening to it because this video is out on Sun and Moon. But we're using it just for this video, aren't we, Christian?
Yeah.
So, the video's playing in the background. It will start in a moment. Oh, this is very important as well because... I think this one I can't remember which county council this is, but the one in Oxford, they know that 96% of the people, this is Telford community, but 96% of the people don't want it in Oxford, and they're still forging ahead with it. So that just shows you. What it is the councils have got, what it is the MPs used to have all the power, and then over time, the councils have got the power. So if you go to your MP now, he'll say, go to the school governors, go to the council, go to an ombudsman. That's what he'll tell you. They don't want to help you anymore. But now the councils have taken the power because they're the ones that put your money into hospital, school, education, and all those other things where your police... Oh, excuse me, I've got hiccups. And they think they're God now. They don't see that they're only there because of the people.
Well, I think I remember something in the headlines some time back that a lot of councils had been put in a problematic way, and then the government stepped in. When I say government, the private corporations stepped in, like Serco, to run these guys. And these Serco, as you well know, is owned by the likes of William and Winston Churchill's grandson. So, it's the same bloodlines doing the same things countrywide, if you like, and that's probably why we are still under that, what you call, basically, a sort of martial law, where you're saying about giving the choice to vote, when in fact, you've got politicians asking you, will you come back to us? Will you vote for us?
We don't get a choice. All we get is their options, and you make a choice out of those options, but we don't get the choice about what we really want.
Basically, when you do join these political parties, you're giving them your consent so they can do things on your behalf. Yeah. So if they get involved in something like putting some money towards some gun sales or whatever, they're doing it on your behalf. Whatever they do, they're doing it on your behalf. Yeah. And like you just said about having a vote, yes, you can vote for this person.
Oh, do you remember? It's like your parents would have said, you need to vote because we got that right with the war. You need to vote because we've been to war and all that. And you think, but we don't get a vote. I could never vote again for this system, ever. Never. Now I know what it is. It doesn't matter. Just say, for instance, the Labour Party got in tomorrow. It's still one of them.
Yeah, well, this guy Maxwell said a long time ago that even the likes of these families who were actually financing the way back in the earlier part of the 1900s, that was supported by them, so they could get the women to work and tax them. So there's what does that do? So now then you have both parents working, and then you on the way to destroying that little bit of family life that there was there before. So it's all
if this video is correct, they already know we don't want it.
Yeah. I think Leeds is another one of these cities that's under the cosh, and they're reshaping Leeds. So
have you noticed that no matter what solutions that they give you, it never really sorts anything out? And what it is, when the Labour Party was made, it was supposed to be there for the poor people and to look after them and bring all these things in, and they're still asking for those things today, so it didn't achieve very much.
Yeah. Well, everything they're doing is under the pretense of climate change, is geoengineering programs using
and they're doing that, so they're making the global warming or whatever you want to call it, and then telling you that you're the ones that are gonna have to pay for it.
Yeah.
One way or another, pay for it mentally, emotionally, and physically, and out of your pocket probably as well. You'll have to come from you.
Yeah, so you're paying for your own about closing you down even further to do any travelling. You're probably going to have to get some sort of special permit in the future. Never mind your culvert, the 19 pass, keeping you in line. It's keeping you from being a person you want to be. It's keeping you away from the real freedom and the power that you really have. It's just a step further to enslavement. Never mind your CDCs and your cryptocurrencies. It's all.
They actually cannot leave you alone.
No, this is it.
I mean, if you're into the system and don't realise, they cannot leave you alone. It is every day, 24 hours a day, lie upon lie upon lie. And
Yeah,
now, and
basically.
I made the video about the deep fake. This guy, this reporter was saying, you won't be able to tell whether it's real, a lie. You won't be able to tell if it's a good one or a bad. It just all look the same, and that's what we're getting. So there's all this stuff where they'll say, this person's here and this person's here. You don't know that. Or they're standing with their boyfriend. They probably aren't. They've been superimposed together. We can't tell. Well, I can tell, but most of us can't tell. We just believe it.
Yeah.
And they're feeding you all these lies to make you believe things and want things.
And it's so easily done these days, though, isn't it? Because they've got so many different formats that they can use to deceive you.
Yeah.
Not getting away from it, Never mind your CGI, your special effects, your prostate masks that they use.
The only thing I get worried about is I thought all along, even when, a few years ago, that I thought that all they were waiting for was they just wanted to put martial law in. They need an excuse for martial law, but of course we were all very good and we all stayed in our little houses, so they couldn't do it then because there wasn't people out rioting. But I wonder now if they did things, then what would happen, and then what would happen? I don't know. I just wish they would go.
Yeah.
I think it's actually quite embarrassing, to be honest.
Well, it's got to be for some of them, because especially ones that just the ones that just going along for the ride. If I don't go along with it, I'll lose my job. I want to follow orders. So I've got to behave myself, that sort of thing. But they're going to feel.
Well, some people don't know, do they? They're just riding along in it and don't even realise. But I think NASA are making all the videos for us. All the news and everything, and they're the ones doing it.
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to the moon, are they?
Well, no, apparently they can't go back to the moon, but they can go to Mars next time, so,
Yeah, they can't go to the moon. If you listen to them now, they say they can't get out of this atmosphere. So how would they be getting to Mars? Why don't you just admit to everybody they're just above our heads? That's why you can't go to them. Well, in fact, you can't even get to them.
Yeah.
We're living in some super duper magical place, really. A realm.
I think it's got something to do with the likes of Avatar. I think there's some sort of connection with our past. I mean, with the film Avatar, they're more or less telling you that something came into the world that destroyed theirs. Like they lived in paradise, and then there came along the miners, and they wanted to mine their world. But the thing that I don't get about the film is the way his consciousness is put into one of their bodies. Is that how they get here?
Oh no! So it's basically like how Arnold Schwarzenegger gets here when he's Terminator. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, basically, same sort of thing.
Well, we had it with Star Trek. Beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah. And that's the same sort of thing, really, because they're deatomizing the entire body.
You cannot do that. I don't think we're that super duper.
And sending it somewhere else.
I don't see that happening. I don't know how they do it.
Rematerializing it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you've already said it in the past that we probably are the remnant of something that once was. Some of us that think different, babe, with an open mind. We don't close ourselves off to any, and some of us do actually think outside the box.
When they were orphan children, or when that was happening, who cared about anybody? It just the things that they do, the rules that they make, and most people, the ones that make them, don't live by them. They want to make you live by them, but they don't live by them.
No, I mean, it's like somebody sent me all these photographs of Northampton boot and shoe places, like, cobblers. Northampton's known to be the cobblers. And in these photographs, you got loads of kids working within these shoe factories. But, yeah, Northampton was the shoe capital of the country. And you think, why haven't any of these kids got shoes on?
Well, the videos I see now, they have to portray that we were in clog shoes. The ends turned up. That was not our national shoe. Somewhere in Europe, they would, like, say, Sweden or somewhere like that, they had shoes like that. And they're using it as British footage. So we'll never know
Yeah.
the truth because that is not real. I always show, look at their shoes.
Yeah. In Holland, the people that were against certain new mechanisms that came into place, they were called Luddites, and they threw their clogs into the machine works because it was.
Well, I like this little video. It's going to be on another video, Christian. It's this guy talking about Antarctica, and he said it is really high there, but some people in the olden days scaled it, and they said that behind there is lots of land.
Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. You know, because there's one thing that I learned as a child. It's a phrase from
these
Scripture.
People all could be, you know, when we say we've got like immigration coming in, it could be because they're coming from these places.
It could well be, and they don't want you to know what else is out there. They really don't, and that's why there's so many.
Well, listen, you've got to look at it. They're all into Antarctica. They're all into the UN. They're all into the same thing. They're all in the same thing. Well,
it's like they're guarding all the perimeters. Yeah, and I'm not just talking about one perimeter.
Yeah, we're in an open-air boot camp.
Yeah, basically a giant prison, and now they're letting us know. But via this 15-minute cities, they're letting us know. I mean, China, you did a blog, I think either last year or the year before, about why China only uses 5% of its land, and most of it is uninhabited. 95% of it.
Well, it's 50%. I was really shocked about that. What it is that China is on two levels. You've got this level up on the Himalayas and all that up there, and then you've got this level which is well down below the, what is it? Everest is on top of the, what's the mountains it's on top of? Oh my, Himalayas.
Himalayas, yeah.
So they're below that, but at least, well, it's 3/4 of China live on that bottom bit, and only a small amount live on top of, the Tibetans and that. They all live up there, but it's so cold up there, that's why. And that's why, the sun isn't very far away.
Yeah.
But it's like that really shocked me when I found that out, because I didn't even know that. They didn't teach us that in school.
No, they didn't. There's a lot of things that we weren't taught in school, and I think that's why they call it a curriculum, and what is a curriculum?
And then you can see that there was 2 lakes or rivers up there, and they've burst their banks, and one came down over China and one went down over the Middle East. You can see it. It's like you can see it. It's what's happened to the land.
Yeah.
And now there are 2 seas up there, but they're barren. There's nothing in it. That's because the water came out of them.
Yeah. And this is why I suppose that the Antarctic is being so controlled, that the borders of the Antarctic, what they call the 60th parallel, that it's controlled by...
Well, we don't know. The Union Jack fits over. How many more flags like that are there and other pods are there under all these things? It'll just be another... It won't be the Union Jack, but it'll be something like that. Maybe we're the only one, but they said in this stuff, this guy's talking, this little video. Do you want me to play it?
Yeah, you could do it.
Okay, so we're just going to stop this one. This is the people being very angry about 15-minute cities. And they're angry with the council for making decisions on their behalf without actually asking whether the people wanted it. It's a good start, though, isn't it? Because it's got to change.
Yeah.
Wrapping this.
The world we live in is much bigger than you had ever imagined. And what if I told you we were lied to? All the maps, the globe, everything. What if I told you it was all lies? And that in Antarctica, there's a wall. It's an ice wall. And it's said to be 150 to 200 feet high. It goes for miles and miles and miles and miles. All the way around, blocking off anyone from entering the South Pole. And what if I told you that many expeditions went and attacked this wall and they tried to destroy it? And what if I told you a few of the expeditions, the explorers climbed the wall and they described what they found? They found a pyramid of snow, which was referred to as terror. And they found a volcano spewing magma, and they called it Mount Erebus. And they said there was many lands beyond the pole. And this ice barrier completely blocked the way. If we look on the old maps, we can see many more continents and countries that are supposedly past this wall. And why was this hidden? Why is our actual world hidden from us? And people can claim that this is a myth. But why did they make the Antarctic Treaty? Why are we blocked from seeing our true world? Why?
So there you go then. They can't even tell us the truth on Antarctica, can they? So, you know, they're never going to tell us the truth.
I'm afraid not.
And then they've made government and the whole thing, that's to govern your mind. And they're playing all these games. And now the councils are acting them out. And they think they're little flipping gods.
Yeah. And I suppose that's why they came up with what they have done in recent times, which are more or less just distractions for your mind. You know, the world wants peace. We know this, that most countries just want peace. They don't want war, you know. So it's the people that are running the show, that have been running the show in World War II, World War One. You know, this is something about World War One that I always thought about was, why did the world go to war for one man called Franz Ferdinand? Why wanted the world to go to war? They wanted the genocide, if you like, the sacrificial killing, you know, because no man from either country knew the other man. And it's like easy killing, you know. Oh, let's just send them to kill each other, you know. They called it patriotism, you know, and you think, well, hang on a minute. If I've got a family and I'm a father, I'm the patriot of my family. I should protect my family. I shouldn't be going off to war to kill somebody else's family. You know, when you think about it in a logical sense. And then World War II, World War One, you had a lot of conscientious objectors. You know, and it's not a case that they were cowards. They just didn't want to go kill somebody else. Like Muhammad Ali said, these little Viet Cong people never did anything to hurt me. You know, they never hurt my family. So why should I go not kill their families? You know, and we've heard the same sort of thing with Vietnam, the soldiers that went there, you know, that threw away their medals, and then you get the same thing in Iraq, not once but twice, because these people just went to war for the sake of going to war, you know, and it's all to do with killing for profit.
I think the most disgusting thing is that they're going to pretend and use all these stories to make what they want when none of it's real, and they've lied to us.
Yeah. And basically using the television.
And then people believe it. Oh, what do you mean? You're the stupid one. You know, especially about Ukraine, for instance.
Yeah, well,
I've got another video which has just gone out, Christian. Did you know that in Ukraine is the biggest catacomb in the world? It goes for thousands of miles. The tunnels go into Europe.
Right.
So they're probably arguing about that, or they're probably down there doing something in there.
Well, are these tunnels are old? You know,
they're called catacombs, but there's not many people buried in it.
No.
They used them as cities and to live down there. And in the in the Second World War, they used them again, and you know, like they trapped people down there.
Well, yeah. I mean, I watched the video the other day, and it has to do with all these underground places where people lived. And in every place that they've covered, well, it doesn't matter how old they are, it always seems to me that in the video they mention that later on these places were taken over by Christians who were hiding from whatever, you know, and it's all through the different ages. And I'm going, well, this is a bit repetitive. So the Christians were hiding, you know, and I'm going, this is something that we hear about when Rome threw Christians to the lions, you know. Is this something that's gone on forever? No,
because I don't think we fought like that. You know, people might not want to understand this, but with the Saxons, they said that they did cinematography from above, and they can't see that there was any wars. We all lived peacefully together. And then they said they put the Romans put an aqueduct in, and if they didn't like us, they'd have gone straight through the town. They went round the town. So we lived together.
Yeah.
So what is all this?
This is what I'm saying. It sounds bizarre, but yeah, like you say, a lot of cities have got what you call Roman architecture, or what they call Roman architecture. That is, if it's Roman and not Tartarian. You know, this is where I like am in two minds whether Rome actually came later. You know, and some of the,
You know, I told you I made videos where this guy's talking about Arthur and the fact that there was two King Arthurs, but they like to pretend there's just one, and they've amalgamated them together. But what it is that he said Christianity started here. It's not all roads lead to Rome. It's the UK. This is where Jesus would have been, all that. It would have happened here. We were Jerusalem.
Well, this is what Alan says. If you remember Alan Henderson, he said that we are the old one, the original one, if you like.
It might be why we rule everything. That's why Charles has 46 countries. He's the biggest, you know, like you said, well, maybe he's losing his power, but he isn't. He's got 46 countries and colonies and, oh, you name it. He's the biggest Roman emperor ever. Do you know what? I'm just seeing here on the right, Kate and William have gone to watch the royal wedding in Jordan.
Really?
It's there. And I'm thinking, I wonder if any of them look like her. Because they're all actors, aren't they? So they all play each other. Well, it's all disgusting. But see, people are waking up now and they realise. And once you wake up, you can't go back and pretend it's all fake again, because it's you've seen through it now. You've seen through the veil. Are you still there?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we've seen through the veil now, but we've been doing this since 2017. Maybe you were even longer than that.
Yeah. It probably is.
Because if you don't see that every day it's the same thing, something else, something else, something else, something else, something else, something else, and then there'll be something else.
One of the reasons that, I mean, I'm going back a few years, not quite a few years, that I said to my friend Nora, if you've ever listened to the news clearly and openly, you'll hear that it's always crap news. Always. You know, it's always going to be one thing to another, you know. And she eventually realised, oh, Christian, you're right. It's never anything good. And the only thing that you hear at the end of it, sometimes there's a poppy story, you know, and it makes it negativity over a period of an hour. You know, you think, what is this? You know, so I stopped listening to the news a long time ago because it sets you into...
It's so version. You know, here we have the royal family. In America, they have the actors. Each country has their way of lying to you.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
Oh, I just want the change, because everything they're doing is evil. They are evil. They've got no souls, these people in charge. They've got no souls. They don't care. And Christian, they've got to live longer than us. Otherwise, what's the point of setting all this up if they don't see it out? They've got to live longer, these people that have done it.
Yeah.
Maybe they still live 300 or 400.
Yeah.
You know, somebody, LV, directed me towards the Sumerians. When you look at the tablets, they're saying that only a certain amount of kings ruled for 242,000 years.
Yeah.
Because they lived hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah, I came across that with Michael Tellinger almost 20 years ago. I think about 16, 17 years ago.
So how can we go from that to not even barely getting to 60 anymore?
Because they tampered with our oxygen levels. Yeah, that's the only way I can explain it. Because, like I said, I've been documenting about geoengineering now for almost 20 years. And in that period, my friend Lynn said that the oxygen height and levels were being depleted slowly but surely by what their programs are doing. So it's intentional. They want us to go. That's my true belief. And it's happening. It is going the way they want it to go.
To do it, you know, just think of all the horror movies. So you're filled up with all these most disgusting horror movies, and once they've shown you all this horror and frightening you. Do you see what I mean? They can just do it all over the news. They're just doing it again. Each news is a horror story. I think what that was to do was to make sure that you didn't have any feelings.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that
Turns everybody into narcissists now. You know, we're quite a narcissistical society. You know, I've got people telling me that their family just don't care, don't come and see them, don't want to help. Children. My friend Shirley today, she told a couple of her kids not to come round anymore. Because they make so many excuses to her. You know, she's quite ill. And they say, oh, I'm busy, I'm making dinner. Well, dinner's at 6 o'clock at night, isn't it? So she's had enough. But that's her children. I mean, obviously, they're about my age. But, you know, you think, God, she's probably not going to be here that much longer. And that's the way they want to treat her. You should be happy you've got a mum.
It's the fact that what they're doing with the world and the way they are treating people, you know, it's making people care less. It's making people selfish.
My mum believes the news. She hates Putin.
And this is the thing, they're putting hate into people's hearts at the same time, making people hateful rather than cherish the life they have and, you know, cherish the family they have. You know, cherish what they've got. Don't worry about what you haven't got and what's going on in the world.
When you die, you can't take anything with you.
No,
so really here is meaningless because you can't take any of this with you. But have memories that go on from generation to generation. That's what you're left with.
Yeah.
It's not a material thing. I suppose money can make your life a bit easier for you with paying your bills, but it still won't make you happy, or if you're happy. But having money doesn't make you happy.
No. I mean, the way I looked upon my life is that when I was working, that the government's more or less taken 1/3 of my money, and I'm thinking, why are they taking 1/3 of my money when everything that I use the rest of the money for is basically paying them back anyway, you know, through all your bills and your debts and your food, you know, and anything else that's inclusive of. But now they're putting on restrictions, aren't they? This is the agenda of the new restrictions on everyone, you know. It's like this 15 minutes of cheat thing. This is where the guy he's come across a poster saying, well, it's got 500 residents, it's got 500 bicycles, and only 2 cars. So you know that they're willing to take your cars away as well. You know, that you're probably going to need a special license because it's climate change, you know, climate change. You know, everything that they talk
Christian, do you know what? I really like this video, but I'm just watching right now. Let's have a look. This man, I'm just going to stop it a minute because I've just got to say something. Stop. Right. This man is talking and there is somebody standing right next to him with a dark coat on, but there isn't here. This woman isn't standing next to him. She's standing behind him, but the mirror shows a different story. No. The mirror's showing that there's someone standing there. It looks like a man, but there is not a man standing next to him. She's standing behind him.
Crazy.
Let's go back a little bit and watch that again, because the mirror's moved now. Right, here we go. There's a man there, look. He is standing next to a man, but he isn't. There's no man round him. And there's someone with glasses on there, but there's a man there. Oh, I don't know. I think that's all weird. I hope this video's real and it's just one of those things, but I can immediately see there's another man in the footage in the mirror, but he's not standing there in the footage. Because every time I look at something, I think, that doesn't look right, that doesn't look right, that doesn't look right. But you can see he's standing next to someone in the mirror, but he's not.
Yeah.
And anyway, the person behind him is a woman, whereas it's a man in the mirror. Oh, I just felt this footage, you know. Someone said something to me, you know, when they're making all this stuff, they're at both ends of everything. So they're at the good and the bad, the right and the wrong, the yes and the no. They're at both ends of it. So, you know, even though this might be happening, they want to incite, they want martial law. That's what I think.
Well, I mean, on the COVID-19, we're fine. But, I mean, it's like they start off on bonuses, tickets, you know, lottery tickets and God knows what, burgers, hot dogs, whatever, you know. and even offering money. I think he offered £50 to £500 in places to go and get your shot. And when that didn't work, they started threatening businesses and people with their jobs. So it's all by nefarious
The only annoying
means.
thing is we don't have any answers, do we, Christian? We can just spot the mistakes, know what most of the lies are, because nearly everything's a lie, but we haven't got anything to sort it out yet. Frustrating, isn't it?
Well, this is why I think that a lot of people are now saying pray for a divine intervention of what these animals are doing, whether they are humans that are possessed by demons, or whether they are actually demons just in human form, you know, because what they're doing, everything that they're doing is not for creation, you know. Take example for what they're now doing with the cobalt and the lithium, extra mining again, you know, chipping away at the earth, you know. And yet they're trying to tell people they're going to take their cars. So why are they making people mine for cobalt?
Yeah, isn't wood burners going as well? You can't have one of those. You're like, what is going on? This must be how they changed Tartaria before. You can't have this, you can't have that. You can't live in that house.
Yeah.
Can't have that business anymore. Because the most saddest thing for me is I wish Americans would wake up and realise that probably a good half to 3/4 of their country is abandoned.
Yeah.
And they're living in the other bits. But it's abandoned. You really should wake up and realise. I mean, his name's Josh. He goes around doing videos and he finds it exciting to find, you know, in Texas, like most of Texas now, most of the little towns and the shops, he finds that exciting. I don't. I find it very alarming that almost under your nose, all these places have gone. And yet, I think with America, it's so big, they're not going to hear news from another state. So even if they mention it in one state, oh, well, that town's closing down and everybody's moving out. No one in America's going to hear it, only that state.
Well, this is it, because we follow different researchers. We can tell you that, or tell the public out there that in America there is a lot of open space that's been mined, drilled, fracked, you know, for all these resources, and it's now been left desolate because of the way they've treated the land. And this has been done by the very same people that has given us Agenda 2130. You know, make no mistake, it's the same people. You know, it's just the way they're running the show, and they're saying that we're using.
Well, just because you have a different king or a different queen or a different prime minister, don't think that the same thing isn't happening.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. It's the same people.
Well, let's have a different party, and let's have the Labour Party, and that'll make a difference, won't it?
No, Keir Starmer's just another one of them shills. You know, he's been pushed away from businesses and pubs in the past. You know, because people know he's one of them. You know, there is no red and blue. They're both the two birds on the same two. You know, there's no difference, and this is why I don't want to vote anymore. I just sent them away. You know, I mean, it's bizarre, but yeah, I mean, when you've had
when we look at all this stuff, me and Christian can talk for hours and hours about it, but we don't actually have solutions. We just notice a lot of the problems, or we find another one, or we come back to some that we were looking at. You forget because you've moved on, and then you come back and you look again and you make another video out of it.
Yeah, but what it is, we do heighten awareness of certain situations, like the stuff NASA's done over the last 50 years.
I can't believe the pyramids. I mean, I've watched so many people talk about them. We have Angel, who comes on the channel a lot, and he talks about the pyramids and thinks that they were like a station. You know, they were separating air into waters, denser waters. They were using it as fuel, so it's like a station.
Yeah.
But when I look at it now, and you can see from those that go on the top of it, when they look down, that everything it's all been made. The whole thing's been made. You can see lines and boxes, and you know. Then I saw some of Shepu's pictures. I don't, you know, when we see the battery side of things, you know, it looks like battery packs. They're supposed to be cemeteries, but when you look at them, some of them they've dug it all out, so it's mining.
Yeah.
Right there, I never noticed that before, Christian. So I don't even know what those pyramids are anymore to me. And then there's other people. I've got a video waiting to go out. I haven't done it yet, but they're talking about they've got maps where it looks like the pyramids have been built on tree stumps.
Yeah.
And they're talking about that, but I'm not sure about that, because there's no way the water could be up on the pyramids, because one of the pictures Shepu shows that there is a great big, there's a decline. So there's no way the water went on top. It must have come underneath and up, maybe, but it never splashed over the top. It's too high. And then you think, well, they've got bricks in them. So one of the pictures, you think, well, Mickey's quite often said, is it a star fort? And then that might be them protecting the tree stumps. And this guy says that they had cities and things down there as well. So I'm like, wow, I'm not sure about that, but I've got that video going out. But you think, it's not, I don't know what that thing is. But then what it is most people don't know there are loads of pyramids there. They go right down, they don't mention them, there's loads of them.
But it would make perfect sense to build something like a pyramid on a giant tree stump, because it's the most stable thing that you could actually build upon. And you'll find that probably a lot of high places have been built on the same sort of thing,
Yeah, but in reality, there is a big step up, but not like they're showing in the pictures. They look like hills. So they're not on hills, they are on higher land. But when you look at it, the way it is, and the lines and the squares, the whole thing's been made.
Yeah.
You see, I wondered whether the pyramids were stuck on two sinkholes. The holes would already be there then. I've seen where rivers do it. They go donk donk and they make these big holes. And that could be the pyramids. And they might want that energy then. I don't know, it's crazy.
That would make perfect sense of why there's water underneath the pyramids, because if it was built on a giant tree stump, well, that's what tree stumps do. They suck up the water, and it's the same in various other places that are giant mesas, which look like tree stumps. There's water that comes out of them. So it's something that's to do with creation again, isn't it? And you can't get away from it, because wherever you look, where you see the hexagonal shapes, when people know that that's not lava, because lava does not form symmetrical shapes.
Anyway, my shock is that lava isn't even hot. You cannot have people standing right next to lava with plimsolls on. Their shoes would melt. But they're standing there. So lava does things. It reacts, and it might do things to buildings and cars and land, but it's not hot. All those years it made it's so hot that if it touched you, it would kill you. It's just so hot. And and you see those people trying to get samples with just like wellies on. Wow. Yeah. Can't be that hot then, can it?
Unless some of the photos that we've seen are Photoshop, but you're right, you would not stand on next to red hot lava.
The whole of this place that I believed in is changed now in the last, that first video, Water Seeks Its Level, from that my whole world has changed. I thought it was this, but now I realise it isn't even that, but it's all changed.
Yeah.
Christian, we've been going now for probably nearly an hour. We said an hour. We're going to come back, because we always come back. We've got much more to talk about. But I've worked all day today, so I'd like to... Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
But we don't have the answers for everything.
No, but it's bringing awareness to it. That's the main point.
Is there anything else you quickly want to talk about, that is wrong?
Probably a million things. We can go on and on, but I think we'll cut it there.
We've brought up a few good things. How could Brazil be as modern as the rest of the world if all they tell you now it's a third world country? Obviously wasn't, and was it? And it had technology in it, just like you and me, trains, cars, trams. So they're lying on that one. 15-minute cities, nobody wants them.
The Zalas and the slums, whatnot, you think today it's more of a third world country than what it was back then. And you think, how is that even possible? It looks more civilized, more than 120 years ago.
Yeah, but everywhere looked more civilised in that Tartaria, whatever it was. Before 1925, everything was different then.
So basically what these new modern age people have done with their capitalism and their profiteering ways is created a lot of places like what Brazil looks like today, that you've got so many slum cities worldwide, it's like the enslavement
It seems to me that everything that was great before is now the other way round.
Yeah, it's a degradation. It's a
And also, I
dehumanization.
want to say something else, Christian, before we end. I could probably put the pictures on, but I'm in my office. I look out of my window east, and I know for weeks that that light has been at that point where it would be when we're at the height of summer. We've still got 3 weeks to go. But at night time last night, I took a picture out of my window east. It was dark, but I took a picture out the back, and there was light there, and it was west. It was northwest, but it's not even north anymore. It's northwest. I still think we're turning round.
Yeah, I agree.
Slowly. But you see, because they know, and we already know, and the people say, oh, we've had polar flips. We haven't. Somehow, it might not be that we're moving. The sky is just moving and doing it all. But something's moving round. Because the light has moved. Instead of it being, say, I'm sitting at my computer, so I'm looking dead north. Instead of the light being there, the light is northwest. So it's gone past the northern point. So we must be, something's happening.
With the geoengineering programs and then plastering the skies on a continuous basis, you're not getting a true visualization of the true sky. You know, that's one thing I've noticed over the last 20 years, you know, and many people agree with me that you can't see as many stars as what you used to because of their poisoning and their filtering of the sky. So it's harder to decipher. You know, most people won't even look up at any point in a day. Because
most people don't even know. They've never even watched the Big Dipper moving around.
Precisely. Yeah, it's like they're obliterating the sky for what it stands for, but for thousands and thousands of years, man depicted.
That was the map you used. Was the sky
and astrology?
Yeah, it's the sky.
Yeah, the sky. It is so important.
Anyway, should we come back and do another chat in a few weeks' time, Christian?
Yeah, sure. But for real, yeah.
Christian's always he's like I don't know, you're like a library. Christian will not stop looking stuff up when he bites the bullet. The other one that you really got your teeth into was the worm. But I did another video on that, but we still don't know what it is.
And that's depicted in a lot of paintings of Roman uniforms or their
But you've got worm people in some of carvings and things.
And this doesn't just continue. It continues into the more modern age of the knight's armour and whatnot. So there's something to it. What it is, you know, we can't say offhand because we don't know the allegory behind it. But there's definitely something to it. It's like, wasn't a parasite introduced into certain human beings, and that's the ones that are in charge today, and they do the bidding for whoever put the parasite in them. You know, I'm sure it's something along them lines. It's got to be.
Mind you, you know, when we were little, I used to get frightened of Doctor Who, and then when you find out when the actual I'm going to exterminate you, when you open that thing up, there's a little man in there.
Well, the irony is that Sean Pertwee, Sean Pertwee, his son is a similar name, but yeah, there was a series that they'd done where they've got these giant worms in the program. That's part of an attack of these worms. So, and that's strange.
Nothing is stranger than the place we live.
Yeah.
The best thing you can do is start talking to your friends and family and turn the television off and have a life. It's not a life watching the television.
No, definitely not.
But shall we come back and do another one, Christian?
Yeah, sure.
But sure. I am glad that you're a bit better now, because Christian's been through the wars, haven't you, Christian? Been to hospital and pneumonia and
one after the other. It's, I don't know, it's like I'm under the cosh.
You're not the only one, though. I think we all get our bits. But I've really enjoyed this talk, Christian, and I know that there's a million things that we could talk about. We've only talked about a few of them.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you chatting with me.
Yeah, me too. And let's do it soon.
We will. 10-10 till we do it again.
Good buddy.
Anyway, just for the video now, we're going to say goodbye. Thank you very much, Christian.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Thanks, chat room.